Coming up tonight, Gamecock football suffers an unfortunate defeat.
Later, Gamecocks women's soccer makes a run in the SEC tournament.
And finally, the Panthers experience more heartbreak.
These stories and more on Palmetto State Sports.
From the Blue Ridge Mountains and through the Midlands down to the coast, there's plenty of sports highlights and moments here in South Carolina. There's only one place where you'll catch all the action. This is Palmetto State Sports.
Welcome into Palmetto State Sports. I'm Spencer Ball.
And I'm Courtney Hollmon. Thank you for joining us tonight. The Gamecocks being ranked number 25 was short-lived as they lost to Missouri on Saturday. Williams-Brice Stadium was sold out for the fourth time on Saturday as fans packed the stadium to watch the Gamecocks take on Missouri for the homecoming game.
The Gamecocks, who had fast starts against Kentucky and Texas A&M, scoring touchdowns within the first few seconds of the game, did not have the same pace on Saturday. It took the Gamecocks 29 minutes to find their first points of the game, which was a touchdown by quarterback Spencer Rattler.
Offense and defense struggled on both ends as South Carolina could not stop Missouri, with Marshawn Lloyd not being able to return in the second half due to a high thigh bruise. In a post-game conference, head coach Shane Beamer talked about the loss. Here's what he had to say.
We looked like a team on all three phases. In the first quarter and in the first quarter, we looked like a team that was on our heels and just assumed everything was going to be okay and just waiting for something to happen, and just told the team, in this conference, it's a freaking grind, and every single week you better be at your best. And we weren't at our best as coaches tonight. We weren't at our best as players. Starts with me, and the only thing we can do is go right back to work, because no weeks are easy. It never are, and especially from here on out. So, questions?
A win against Missouri would have made the Gamecocks bowl eligible in October for the second time since 2012. The Gamecocks go on the road this week as they take on Vanderbilt on Saturday at 4 p.m.
Moving on to the court, the women's basketball team hosted Benedict for an exhibition game as part of their Fam Fest on Monday night. Colonial Life Arena was loud as fans got to see a sneak peek of the new women's basketball team.
The Lady Gamecocks, who are ranked #1 in the preseason poll, showed out as they beat Benedict with a final score of 123 to 32. There were some new faces in the starting five as sophomores Bree Hall and Sanaya Fagan joined Aaliyah Boston, Zaya Cook, and Bree Beal in the lineup.
Cook and Hall led the team in scoring with 19 points, and Fagan achieved a double-double with 17 points and 12 rebounds. The Lady Gamecocks will open their season on November 7th against East Tennessee State, tipping off at 8:15. The Gamecock volleyball team is currently 500 on the season at 10 wins and 10 losses. They'll look to reclaim a winning record and break a 2-game losing streak tonight when they face the Arkansas Razorbacks at 8 p.m. in Fayetteville.
This Saturday and Sunday, the team will return home to the Carolina Volleyball Center to face Ole Miss in back-to-back games. The Gamecocks currently have a 9-2 record at home and are looking to protect their court against a fellow 10-10 SEC team. The Saturday game will begin at 2 p.m. and the Sunday game will begin at 4 p.m.
Gamecocks men's basketball team takes on Mars Hill University in an exhibition match which tips off just a few moments ago, at Colonial Life Arena. This will be the team's first competition of the season, and their regular season will get underway next week. On Tuesday, they take on SC State, and then on Friday, Clemson comes to town for another rivalry game.
The team looks a lot different from last year with new head coach Lamont Paris at the helm. However, most of the eyes this season will land on freshman Gigi Jackson, as he was the #1 ranked prospect for the class of 2023 before reclassifying and committing to the Gamecocks.
Other new players will have to step up for the Gamecocks if they look to have success this season. Hayden Brown, a transfer from the Citadel, and Michi Johnson, a transfer from Ohio State, will look to be two key players for the new Gamecock roster.
I'm really excited to see this new roster put together under Lamont Paris. So far, it's looking like a great hire.
I'm excited. For both teams, women and men, especially men's. Coming up, SGTV News 4 sports reporter Tyler Perrone will give us a glimpse at the sports world outside the Palmetto State.
Welcome back, Gamecock fans. Sports doesn't just happen here in the Palmetto State. Here's what's going on around the country. The trade deadline has come and gone in the NFL, and multiple household names will now be suiting up for different squads. These include Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool to the Bears, Lions tight end TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings, and Bears linebacker Raquan Smith to the Ravens. The Panthers didn't make any more moves before the deadline after sending Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers in October. Over the weekend, the Panthers traveled to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. While a win was in Carolina's grasp following a clutch DJ Moore touchdown, Panthers kicker Eddie Pinheiro missed two potential game-winning kicks, and the Panthers fell to Atlanta in overtime with a score of 37-34. Former XFL star P.J. Walker was under center again for Carolina and had a solid outing, passing for 317 yards, the one touchdown to Moore, and one interception. In place of Christian McCaffrey, the Panthers may have found a serviceable replacement in veteran D'Onta Foreman. Against the Falcons, he went for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. If Carolina had won the game against the Falcons, they would have improbably been at the top of the NFC South rankings with a record of 3-5. Instead, they fell to 2-6 on the season. Next up for the Panthers are the Cincinnati Bengals and former USC star Hayden Hurst. Kickoff is Sunday, November 6th at 1 p.m. Since last week, the Charlotte Hornets have gone 1-4, with their only win coming on Saturday in overtime against the reigning champion Golden State Warriors. All-star LaMelo Ball remains out of the lineup with an ankle injury, but the Hornets may have found a diamond in the rough in point guard Dennis Smith Jr. DSJ was a first-round pick in the 2017 NBA draft, but never found his footing until now. This season, he's averaging a solid 12 points, 4 rebounds, and over 6 assists per game. He's been a difference maker thus far in the season. Due to a rain delay in Philadelphia on Tuesday night, Game 3 of the World Series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros ended up being played last night, with the series tied at 1 game apiece. The Philadelphia batters came alive last night, hitting a World Series record 5 home runs and shutting the Astros out 7-0. The Phillies are now up 2-1 with a chance to take a 2-game lead tonight at 8:03 p.m. That's the Pro Sports Breakdown for this week. I'm Tyler Perrone, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. I'm Violet Raftery. South Carolina women's soccer is currently in Pensacola, Florida, where they're competing in the SEC tournament. The Gamecocks secured the SEC East title in their last game of the regular season and entered the tournament as the number 2 seed overall. Yesterday, USC shut out Ole Miss with 3-0. With that victory, they advanced to the semifinals. Tomorrow, they take on Georgia at 8:30 p.m. The winner of that match will play the winner of tomorrow's Alabama-Vanderbilt game in the championship match on Sunday. Alabama is currently seeded number 1, and the team has the SEC forward, midfielder, defender, freshman, and coach of the year. Now, South Carolina has a number of notable players of their own. Gamecocks Kat Berry, Jalissa Harris, Shea O'Rourke, and Gracie Falla were all named to SEC teams on Sunday. USC last won the SEC tournament in 2019 and looks to handle some tough competition to bring the championship back to Columbia this season. All games in the tournament are broadcast on the SEC network for fans to watch. Well, Monday was an exciting night for women's basketball fans. They hosted Benedict College for an exhibition game at 7 p.m., but before that, it was a celebration. Fam Fest opened at 5 p.m. and offered a variety of entertainment for the team's beloved fan base. The event included Halloween costumes, face painting, candy, a photo booth, plenty of entertainment, and support from athletes of other sports. The event also showcased the Gamecock Walk. During the celebration, Coach Dawn Staley announced the theme for the 2022-23 season, Dreams, Nets, and Assets, or DNA. In the press conference following the game, Staley said, quote, "Winning is in our DNA," end quote. Staley also named the University of South Carolina as a place that players come in order to achieve their dreams. Nets represents success, as it's a tradition to cut and commemorate the net from each championship. And Assets is in reference to the name, image, and likeness, allowing players to profit and thrive. The team looks to derive energy from their new DNA theme as they enter the season as the reigning national champions. So I think it's a perfect theme. I think it seems to encompass just their energy, and I love it.
I love it. They have good things every year, but this one, I'm excited for this season. It
Yeah.
gets me hyped already.
I'm all for this one. So coming up after the break, what Carolina sporting events are going on this week? Stay tuned for the Palmetto State calendar.
Before we go, let's take a look at the Palmetto State calendar. Starting off with some volleyball, the Gamecocks will travel to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas tonight at 8 p.m. They return home for a 2-game series with Ole Miss, with the games starting at 2 p.m. on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. The Tiger volleyball team has a road trip this week as they hit the road for Florida. On Friday, they face Florida State at 8 p.m. On Sunday, they take on the Miami Hurricanes at 1. The Chanticleer volleyball team will begin a 2-game road series with South Alabama on Friday in Mobile at 7 p.m. and again the next day at 2.
Moving on to the men's soccer matchups for the week, the Gamecocks only have one game this week, but it comes against a tough opponent. They travel to Lexington, Kentucky to take on the second-ranked team in the nation, the Kentucky Wildcats, at 7 p.m. on Sunday. The Tigers host Notre Dame tonight at 8 p.m. in the Upstate for the first round of the ACC tournament. And Coastal Carolina will play West Virginia in the quarterfinals of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament on neutral ground in Lexington, Kentucky at 3 p.m. on Sunday.
Now let's check out the lone women's soccer game. For this upcoming week, the Gamecocks will face the Georgia Bulldogs tomorrow night at 8:30 on the SEC Network. Both the Tigers and the Chanticleers do not play this week.
Now we'll take a look at the football matchups for this week. On Saturday, the Gamecocks will take on Vanderbilt on the road in Nashville at 7:30 p.m. on the SEC Network. The Clemson Tigers travel to South Bend to take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame at 7:30 on NBC this Saturday. And the Chanticleers host App State this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN.
Next up, let's look at the women's basketball matchups this week. The Gamecocks kick off their season against East Tennessee State right here in Columbia Monday at 8:30 p.m. Clemson hosts Gardner-Webb at 11 a.m. on Monday, and the Chanticleers head to Athens to take on the Bulldogs Monday at 6 p.m.
And finally, for the men's basketball matchups, we have 3 matchups that all take place at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, the Gamecocks open their season with a home game against SC State. Monday night, the Tigers will host the Citadel to start their season, and the Chanticleers host St. Mary's to start their season on Monday as well. That's all we have for tonight's edition of Palmetto State Sports.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SGTV Sports, and to keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4 Sports, I'm Courtney Hollmon.
And I'm Spencer Ball. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina.
Forever to thee.